Hi, I'm Mick.
And I'm Kay.
Hello, I'm Mick from profesoresdeinglesonline.com, and I'm here with today's post in which we're going to look at some of the language that we can use to disagree with other people. I think the first thing to say is that I disagree as a phrase is actually not that commonly used in most spoken English. It's quite a harsh way of disagreeing with someone. It's quite strong. The effect of that essentially is that you really close down conversation, and most of the time that's not what you want to do. You want to open things out and speak to people. If you say, for example, I think it's going to rain later, and the other person says, I disagree, you haven't really got anything else to say or that you can add to that. So let's have a look at what we do actually use instead. I think the first thing is that, like in Spanish, the simplest and by far the most common way of disagreeing with people is to use a positive word and then the word but. For example, yeah, but, okay, but, sure, but, this kind of thing. And the longer you make the positive word, the more it sounds like you're actually considering the idea that the other person has said, even if you're not actually really considering it at all.
You have to accept that Trump won.
Yeah, but he's an idiot.
We don't have much money, so why don't we stay in and watch a movie?
Okay, but we did that last night and the night before. Sometimes you want something a bit more complicated though. Maybe you want a bit more time to think, so you want a phrase that gives you that time, but you want to talk so that the person you're speaking with knows that you actually have something to say. Maybe it's just that you want to give them even more of an idea that you're taking seriously the idea that they gave you, that you know already that you're going to go on and disagree with. So we use the same formula, something positive and then the word but.
There are too many discussion programs on TV.
I see your point, but it's better than having no politics at all on TV.
Footballers earn too much.
I see what you mean, but they do have a really short career.
La La Land shouldn't have been allowed to keep the Best Picture Oscar.
I hear what you're saying, but I didn't really like it, so I'm glad it didn't win.
Young people should move out of their parents and become independent.
I get what you're saying, but not all of them can afford to. Removing the word but doesn't mean that we're suddenly dramatically all confrontational and aggressive, but it does make things a little bit stronger when you disagree. We tend, however, to still avoid using really definite kind of statements. We rarely say things like, I'm sure that's not true. We're much more likely to use, I'm not sure that is true.
If we want to save money, we have to cut staff.
I'm not so sure. We could move office, for example.
The best thing to do is send her a message and say sorry.
I'm not convinced. I think we actually need to do something.
Madrid are obviously going to win the league.
Not necessarily. They still have to play Atleti, Barça, Sevilla, so I think there's a lot to play for, yeah? As the apology gets firmer and more definite, we often add a kind of apology. It's not a real apology for disagreeing, it's more a way of saying, hey, this isn't personal, you know? I just don't happen to think the same as you do here.
University is a waste of time. You learn far more getting a job in the real world.
I have to disagree with you there, I'm afraid. A good education is worth its weight in gold.
David is the obvious choice for the manager's job.
Sorry, I can't agree with you there. Claire has far more experience in both sales and marketing. Even when we've accepted that no one's actually going to change their mind, that we're going to have to agree to disagree, we often use this expression with the word I think. Again, really to make it softer and soft as possible so that we're not being very harsh with the other person and we're just making it clear this is only my opinion and I respect the fact that you have a different opinion.
The rich pay more than their fair share of taxes.
Look, I think we'll have to agree to disagree on that. With friends and family though, what you actually find is that we don't need to be quite so considerate. We don't need to be so polite and worried about feelings all the time. The kind of rough and tumble of conversation with friends and family often sounds a lot harsher. It might sound it, but really it's because there's that underlying trust, that underlying sort of love and respect that people have in these groups for each other that means we get away with far more. We use language that's much more colourful, that might to an outsider seem a little bit shocking, but really in that group is what keeps that group of people together. The fact that we're saying, hey, I can trust you. I know that I can say this and you're not going to be offended, and we're going to carry on talking to each other.
I think Trump's going to do a lot of good.
Rubbish.
I think Trump's going to do a lot of good.
Nonsense.
I think Trump's going to do a lot of good.
Come off it.
I think Trump's going to do a lot of good.
Bollocks. Okay, thank you very much for watching. There were 15 different ways that we can use to disagree with people in English. We'll have another video post on language next Thursday, and there'll be a vocabulary post up on the site next Tuesday. You can also have a look right now at what we've already got going on. So please go to profesoresdeingles.com as soon as you can. Thanks.